a man can never have that experience. Now, I don't know what it's going to look like in the next 30 years. Men might be menstruating, God forbid, but they may be, because the way that these people are going.
Now let's make one thing clear. Because of you is why we're here. You give us life, you give us love. That is why we want you dear to our heart. Come and join the show, cause we need you to grow. So pull up and share with us all of the things you know.
And shame, oh boy, I could do a whole segment on shame. Like, shame is really one of the things that's holding a lot of us back. A lot of us, like, it really is one of those things that's keeping a lot of us from seeing our own potential, right, and tapping into our own power, right. People talk about, I even think, people talk a lot about imposter syndrome, right. I think shame plays a lot in that as well. The sense of worthlessness. You are not worthy to occupy this space. Why are you here? No one wants to hear what you have to say. No one gives a shit to hear from someone like you. Who do you think you are? Remember when? Let me tell you, like, shame will really have you out here thinking that before you can walk in purpose, you have to be perfect.
Yeah.
Shame will have you out here thinking that. Shame will have you out here looking crazy, Ashan, like real crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, it's interesting because I know, it's funny because as much as I want to get away from, I thought, now I'm answering one of your questions you asked earlier. One of the things that I'm noticing in the space is that I initially came in thinking it would be like an overall conversation, but I realized that as women, we have a lot of work to do on ourselves, right? And I personally, like, okay, so I personally believe that women should talk to women about certain issues, honestly. Like, nothing makes me cringe more than listening to a man tell a woman how to be feminine. It bothers me.
Yes.
It bothers me. It bothers me when a woman is sitting down telling a man how to be masculine. Like, these things bother me. I think that men should have certain conversations with men, and I think that women should have certain conversations with women. You cannot think that you can comfortably have a conversation with me around menstrual cycles as a man. You can only take that conversation but so far, right? I sitting with a woman talking about cycles, menstrual cycles, just sounds a little bit better, right? It sounds a little different because a man can never have that experience. Now, I don't know what it's going to look like in the next 30 years. Men might be menstruating, God forbid, but they may be, because the way that these people are going.
I mean, yeah, I get it. I get it.
So, I don't know where it's going to be like in the next 30 years, but right now, as we speak, men are not having menstrual cycles. So if a man is talking, this is what you do when you have a menstrual cycle. To me, that's no different than telling a woman, like, look, this is what, like, it's really crazy to me. So for me, yes, I talk mostly to women because there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And I also believe that women, and I said this yesterday, have the power and the ability to change the trajectory of the culture, honestly. Because when we look at the roles that women play as far as the children, it's a very important role, not more important than the father or even less, but it's really important, right? You are your child's first teacher. You are your child's first teacher. We're talking about changing society. You can't change society and not properly parent your children. Because the same society that you're trying to change, your children will go out there and destroy because you jack them up in the home. So that's why parenting is so important to me. Look at you out there doing all that community work, talking about you are a community activist, and your child is one of the children terrorizing the blasted community. How is what? What are we really doing?
Yeah.
And so it's a big thing for me to talk to women. That's what you see. And like you say, it could be applied to anything. I would bring men on. Like next week, I have a guy coming on. We're gonna talk about how dope therapy is and why we should not be afraid of it. And that's a guy. It's just he and I having a conversation. But yes, I talk mainly to women because I believe in the power that we possess as women. And I really believe that a lot of women are losing sight of that power because they're so focused on either competing with the men, or they're either trying to compete or convince
Yes.
women, right? And then the women who are out there, and I'm sorry, this is no shade on anyone, but from my observation, the women who are out there trying to teach about femininity, it's very performative. It's based mainly on aesthetics and sexuality. Okay, there's a difference
Yes.
in being sensual and being feminine. Okay, sensuality you can turn off and on. Femininity is always there for you to tap into. Sensuality and sex and femininity is two different things. In fact, one is a principle. There's the feminine principle, and then there's the masculine principle that exists even in nature. But we're not going to get into all of that right now. But that's kind of why I mainly talk to women, because I think that we have lost focus on what we actually are able to do with what we possess. And when I say what we possess, I mean the bodies that we found ourselves in, right? I think we lose focus on it because we are in this society literally trying to compete and trying to prove something to who is dominant, which is men. This is really what's happening. And the femininity out here right now, I'll be holding my head. I'll be embarrassed for the feminine principle. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll be literally
Yeah.
embarrassed for the feminine principle. Like, what are you doing? Just say that you are teaching people how to be sexy.
Yeah.
Call it what it is, because that's what it is. So yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I love it because I'm with AR in the chat. Me and him had a conversation about the whole femininity thing, because there are so many people that are talking about femininity, like you said, as a trait.
Yes.
But it doesn't matter if you don't have character as a human being. So no matter how much you present feminine and genteel and respectable, if behind closed doors your word can't be counted on, it doesn't mean anything. It's only a facade. You know what I'm saying? So there are a lot of people, unfortunately, who are, like you said, it's an aesthetic. It's something they're wearing. They're wearing the femininity, but it's not seeping into who they are and developing any character. It's not blossoming in them. It's just something they put on.
They don't. Somebody have convinced them that femininity is something outside of them to be attained. Femininity is within us. We are born with it. Now, a lot of us, specifically as Black women, we have strayed away from it for a number of reasons. Okay, we don't even have to get into all of them, but for a number of reasons, right? But the femininity, that it's not outside of you. So, like you said, you don't get to take it off and put it on. You have to tap into it because it's already there. But when you start to try to get it from out there, so you're watching all of these videos on how to be feminine and all of these type of things, and you come out of them and all you know how to do is walk a little different, be a little more seductive. That's what you learn femininity is. And so that's why when now you guys couple or connect with men, right? That the side of you, or the dominant trait in you, because some of us women, our dominant trait is masculinity. Okay, so then now when you couple with a man, he gets in the home and you pretty and your nails are always done and you got your lashes on and your makeup is intact, but you bark like a dog, right? That when you're in the home, you're screaming him down, you're talking, you're matching his energy. Because you got tricked into thinking that it's all about the exterior. And I'm going to say this last thing. A lot of our women in these spaces are using the femininity to attract men, because really their goal is not to be feminine. Their goal is to be married. That's really what it boils down to. And I'm just going to call it like it is. Your goal is not femininity. Your goal is marriage. So what happens is when you get married, then you take off the femininity suit. And then 5 years later, you're divorced. I'm sorry. I know I might be going a little too hard on this.
Hey, no.
I love my sisters, though. I love them.
But the love also brings correction. Like, love also holds, you know what I'm saying, a mirror to you. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I try to do with the guys sometimes, even though us guys are hard-headed. I talk to guys because I want us to do the exact same thing in reverse. Like, I want us to tap into our own selves, our own masculinity, because it doesn't have to be what other people say. It's not something that you wear. And it's not found by telling women how to operate. Like, telling your woman how you like things because it attracts you to her, that's one thing. But being online, talking to women as a group and generalizing how you think they've gone wrong and how you think they need to operate, that's what I'm trying to tell men to stop doing. Your time would be better served developing yourself. Because if you're a person, you're a whole being, if you come to a relationship better, you'll attract that other thing, because the people who, like you said, are underdeveloped on the other side, they'll recognize that, okay, I shouldn't mess with that because I'm not a whole person. I can sell that. You know a full person when you encounter them. You know if somebody like, oh, they've got something different going on. Like, I mean, not like you said, your presence enters a room before you do.
Yeah.
So people like that, if somebody's like a insecure guy, like let's say you were single, he's gonna be like, nope. Even if he's attracted, he's gonna be like, I know that's too much for me, because it will pull on my vulnerabilities. So I want men to develop, so shore up your vulnerability so that you're bleeding on this in this online space. You're bleeding all over the keys and the screen, and we all see it. But because you won't listen to another guy tell you that, like, because you won't listen, everybody's looking at you, and we're laughing at you right now. We're laughing at some people are sad for you, like, oh, oh, poor little broken guy.
Yeah.
But the rest of us are just laughing at you. So I really want, Monday is my last show on YouTube, right? So I'm talking to the guys again. I'm trying to give them the memo. Male emotional management online. I'm giving them the memo. All right. Because we have to get the understanding that us men, we have emotions. Everybody sees that we're having emotions. The women that we say we want to marry and we want to submit to us, see that we're online having emotions. Everybody knows it but us, that we're emotional and that we're hurt. It's not just a joke. Oh, who hurt you? They're making a joke out of something true. You've been hurt, and they want to know what level is the hurt, because maybe I can work with it. Maybe there's something that you can just tap into, something therapeutic or therapy, and you can work through that. But at the root of it is, who hurt you? Because if it's so deep, if the trauma is so deep, I have to tap out. I'm not going to invest my energy in trying to heal you, black man, because there's another black man who has less wounds over here that I can build with. So I really want them to understand there's a practicality to even the jokes that they're receiving online. But if they were willing to just say, look, I'm going to look inside, I'm going to fix myself, we could get further by a whole group of men who were just fixed. We were working on ourselves, building ourselves. The women, either they would, hey, I'm not ready, so I'm going to leave you alone, black man, because you're moving. You got your thing going, and I'm not there yet. Or we'll see, because our eyes will be clear. We'll see the women that are ready, and we'll focus on them as opposed to trying to fix the ones who have no interest in relationships, because that's who we're talking to. All of us are yelling back at the women who have no, hey, you out here twerking. She's not looking to get married to you. Quit trying to tell her to stop twerking, because this woman over here is ready for marriage and you're not looking at her.
That's
so
true.
That's what I want with the men, because they're doing the exact same thing. They blame the women for.
The woman of, you are so right. Like, they talk a lot about like women going after, they use the term Pookie and Rares, and the reality is that a lot of our men are attracted to Pukisha and Renisha. Okay, because because Pukisha and Renisha are quote unquote bad. They're baddies. You know what I'm saying? They fit the, what do you call it? The preference look, right? And so that's who a lot of our guys are going after. And they are looking over the women who, are ready to be wives, who are currently functioning in the energy of a wife, right? They're looking past those women, and that's a conversation to be had as well, because it's usually put on the woman, and there is truth to that. A lot of the women are looking for men, because you know what the issue is. A lot of us are programmed into. Okay, so a while ago, I was thinking about this, right? So woman wants like protection. We like to feel protected. And the truth be told, if a woman was, if you was to put two men in front of a woman, and maybe one acts a little bit more macho, we call him the bad boy. And the other one is just constantly, it's not giving off the sense of I could protect you, but I could care for you. There's a difference. The woman is going to go with the one that she looks at that seems to be tougher, because toughness is interpreted as protection. So even the idea of why women like bad boys, I think it's more to it. I think there's a level of protection involved that we don't talk about, like that women read as protection. I'm not saying it's really protection, but I think they read the toughness that that person exudes as, okay, I will feel safer around that person, right? There's a conversation to be had around that, right? But I think the men do it too, like you said. Yeah. They just, like, we don't talk about it. We look at it as women just choose badly, but I think it's more to it, like than that. When I watch this documentary around like attraction, they talk about how women give off a certain oh gosh, I don't know if it's smell when she's ovulating. Like a lot of
Hmm.
this stuff that we're discussing around attraction has to do with science and nature. Like
Yeah,
it's
biology.
yeah, it's true. And we don't even like really
Yeah.
discuss it on that level, but there's a lot of things at play with that. So even when the women are going for the bad boys, there's a lot more at play. There's more than her just being stupid or a bad decision maker. It's way more to it than that. But I agree with you. A lot of our men, they're going after the Instagram models, the Pokishas and the Renisha that don't really want to contribute anything. And when I say contribute, they don't even want to pour into them. They don't really want to help them build. They really just want to like make withdrawals and not deposits. And yet here you are. Those are the women that you want to wife because they look good or they look a certain way on your arm. So it's not just the woman, it's the men as well. So there's a conversation to be had on both sides. So I agree with you on that, Arshan, for sure.